Res grenade coming.
Push long center if you're coming up with. Hit him from that.
Yeah, I heard someone say something about Genesis.
What about it?
I don't know. I heard someone mention it.
I didn't.
Okay.
Maybe it was on command, I'm not sure.
Could have been.
What are you watching TV on Sunday morning?
Triple homicide.
Hello, fellow Auraxians. Well, it's time for your dev stream summary. Presenting the stream was Rel, your lead designer of Planetside 2, Andy Seitz, who's been with Daybreak Games and Sony Online Entertainment almost as long as the company existed. He was the producer of Planetside 2 for a while there. He was very involved when they were porting the game to PlayStation 4. And he moved on to executive produce sometime before Nick came on as producer. And then you have Cardo, who was the lead designer for H1Z1 and Planetside Arena, and is now working on Planetside 2. So let's dive right into the summary.
Would you like to show off some of what we have planned for December?
Yes, I would love to. Has some festive goodies as well. I'm not going to go over it too quickly. It's offline right now, so I won't go over it at all. There you go.
So anyways, snowmen are coming. Christmas Directive is coming. We just don't know what it is. It is a new directive for this year. I don't know what the reward will be. I haven't heard anything about a code yet, and the event's not online in game. I don't know when they're going to turn it on. So sorry to be as uninformative as I could possibly be regarding that event. Biolabs are decorated and snowy.
I'll also be doing a PTS update tomorrow.
Yep, cool.
to get some of the stuff out. Or, yeah, most of the stuff out.
Yeah,
so
we're going to be getting back to being a lot more active on PTS with updates going forward.
Yeah.
Starting with this build.
When he says tomorrow, that is the day of this video's release. So it sounds like they intend to make use of the test server more going forward, which is absolutely good news. We will see how that plays out.
we have made a focus for NSO for this update.
So yeah, next is the boring part, and I'm going to go through it really fast. The sniper rifle that you may have seen a picture is coming, and it is NSO only. Here is a freeze shot of the stats. It is a bolt action, 6-round magazine, 600 damage and maximum damage range weapon. So if you are a robot, cool, rejoice. If you are not, nobody cares. Next, the robots are getting a faction-specific vehicle. This is the Tempest from Planetside Arena. It is called the Javelin here in PS2. Again, if you are a robot, exciting. If not, nobody cares. In its current iteration, it does shoot homing rockets, so be prepared for those, making it to live. And next, NSO is getting a max version. It is called the Defector. They gave a little bit of lore on it. It sounds like it can do suicide missions. And then the one weapon they showed for it is it prints and throws grenades. So, if you're a robot, exciting. If not, say it with me now, nobody cares.
Any more questions? Let's see. So anything about increasing ISO 4 gain? The rewards in general are definitely something that we need to get worked out. They were there to kind of test the waters and see if it would motivate players to fight any harder, and like how much we'd have to give players in order, but not disrupt the economy at the same time. What it turns out to be is that we can't just straight up the amount of ISO 4 gained, because it is disruptive to the economy, and like certs, same thing. Even though a lot of veterans view them as like disposable, like it still all matters, and we have to kind of be very level-headed with that sort of thing. So one of the things that we are planning on doing in the future is adding systems that allow us to give bigger rewards, but doing it in a way that's more periodic. So like you'll see like daily missions and other games and that sort of thing, and we definitely want to try to get to systems like that.
So it's a long way of saying no, they're not going to increase the in-game rewards right now. Sounds like maybe they are going to eventually improve what the dailies are. It would be great if it was more than just a ribbon, and sounds like they're going to add rewards along with that, possibly, maybe. Not quite sure what he was referring to with that.
How long has it been since you guys actually showcased anything from Sanctuary?
It's been Man, when did we do that live stream?
August?
I think it was August.
I think it was August.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
A few months.
progress has been made. A lot has been changing.
So guys, the first time they showed off Sanctuary to us was back in July. I wanted to give you a quick peek of where it was then. At the time, Alan was giving us a tour. He was the senior artist that seemed to be spearheading the effort. And you can sort of get a glimpse. They had it sort of roughed out, but they didn't really have textures in or anything like that. So they have made significant progress on it. It's looking really nice. It's starting to come together. So guys, a lot of people I know are understandably like, what's the point? Why bother with Sanctuary? Why not some new terrain to play on, like Osher, which we heard about almost a year and a half ago now? Personally, I'm very pro Sanctuary. I see so many benefits that could come from it, but the caveat there is I'm very anti Phase 1 Sanctuary, wait for Phase 2. What my fear here is we're going to get one kind of cool functional feature in Sanctuary, and then they're going to hit it hard with a second feature that is really a monetization feature out of Sanctuary. And if it comes out in that half-implemented state, a lot of monetization state, it is really going to piss people off, and very understandably. So they have to be super careful there. They either got to release it fully flushed with all the features, or if they release it slowly, do not release monetization along with it until the very end, the last piece of it. Let's listen in on what Rel wants to see out of Sanctuary.
A lot of the value of Sanctuary definitely stems from what we are going to put into it, like Tony's been saying, and like it is intentionally vague because we actually had planned to show off more during the stream, but the reality is that those assets and features didn't fully manifest.
They're understandably not showing off things that aren't quite ready. I think people want to hear more, I think people want to see more, but if they share features that they haven't entirely figured out, they just risk it being another Osher. Or the Wasp, the converted Valkyrie with a mining laser, or vehicle hacking. They don't want to create something that they show once, but they can never actually get into game, and it's brought up 3 years down the road.
And so, kind of like I mentioned before, we've got a lot of these big doors and whatnot that we can then add on to and expand later on down the road as, so like bigger patches come up, core pieces of content, core functions come in, we can tie it into this and kind of make this a living and breathing, expanding social zone where you can come, either hang out.
So I'm sure their imaginations have gone just as wild as ours as to things they could add on to the NS Sanctuary, so that's certainly their future goal. Next, Rel really dove into the new player experience, and he touched on how, yes, it was stated as a goal of 2019, and they weren't really able to do anything on it. But he really nailed the whole problem with the new player experience in general. Let's listen in.
Planetside 2 in general needs, for one, we need players, right? And we do have a lot of new players coming through the door every day. That's been the case for the past 7 years now. But we've always had a hard time sticking them. And while I think everyone can agree that the new player experience is incredibly bad, there has been a lot of silver bullets implemented over time that have never done the job. So even like tutorials, which seems like, it's a no-brainer, very difficult to get right, and it has questionable value, whether or not people will actually take something away from that.
So he really does a great job summing up the problem here. First of all, it's tough to create a good tutorial. I mean, they have done it. They created the standard walkthrough tutorial that gives you the basic keybinds, how to use terminals, how to use vehicles. They did the in-game pop-up tutorial, so you're getting information as you're playing. They did the newbie continent, Cold Tier, that is supposed to be a safe place for new players to go start learning the game. And then they also went in and created an outfit browser to try to make it easier for new players to try to get into the community. Like, as much as people complain that Daybreak Games hasn't done a good job in the new player experience, it's not that they haven't tried anything. And sure, we can all critique whether those things were executed well, right? Whether they did a good job on them. But that's sort of Rel's point. I mean, you're always going to be constrained by time and resources. Can you possibly even create the right thing, the correct silver bullet, as he so correctly put it, that would make the new player experience work? No, because no matter how many tutorials you run them through or newbie continents you put them on, they're still going to get thrown into the live experience and get quad headshot over and over and over again. And there's really no tutorial they can create that is going to make players get good. So this is a zone they could really work from. They could set waypoints. One of the waypoints would take you to a terminal that takes you to the VR training zone. There's a lot of players that don't even know it exists. You could set waypoints to a terminal that opens up your outfit browser. And so on and so forth. NS Sanctuary has a lot of potential to answer questions for new players by showing them how to do things in a more interesting, engaging manner than just a little pop-up on their screen. The NS Sanctuary really is the best place to start the new player experience from. Actually, let me add a caveat there. I think the best place for a new player is, first of all, a drop pod right into an epic battle. But before they get frustrated for dying all the time, it needs to yank them back out of it, so they at least have a taste of the epicness, spend a little bit of time helping them on their way a little bit, and then dump them back into the action. And that little bit of time should absolutely include a lot of rewards. They gotta feel like they can do this grind rapidly. In this free-to-play world, people just leave if they don't feel like they can get new weapons fast. So guys, they can't solve it right away, but this will include some improvements to the new player experience after it's delivered.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
let's
we'll-
Want to like vaguely address the next update?
Let's see. How do we touch on this without being too vague, but not spilling the nanites,
Right.
as it were?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
So like we've been alluding to through the stream, we've got a big update coming in early next year, in the first quarter of next year.
It's probably not the next update.
No, it's not next week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not even like this. Probably won't even be in January.
After that, yeah.
We'll have some interim stuff in January, but it's not going to be the big one.
So we're planning on doing a stream in early January to do the full reveal and give full details about what the update is going to be. We're planning on doing effectively a beta process for it, so it's fairly significant. But we're excited about it. We're excited to tell you about it, but you're going to have to wait until after the new year.
Yep. Just gotta make sure we have everything.
What
in a
we
row.
can say is that it'll be very outfit focused.
Yeah.
And we'll.
So we'll see what they have coming. Maybe that's some sort of outfit progression. Not too sure. But it sounds like Auraximus is going to be the mid-December patch here, coming sometime next week. And then the outfit patch will hit sometime in January. And then probably towards the end of first quarter of 2020 is when we will see the NS Sanctuary hit the game, as long as everything stays on track.
Just general questions about bug fixing and performance, without talking about like specifics that are going out over the next couple weeks. Again, we've got a subset of the team that's specifically focused on performance, on anti-cheat, bug fixing in general, and again, we're as often as we can, we're hot fixing these, doing client-only hot fixes. Those are usually specifically for the performance improvements. Any sort of anti-cheat work or significant gameplay bug fixes usually require downtime.
So that's a key thing to me. I like hearing that they have a subset of people working on it. That's the way it should always be, certainly, and it'd be really nice if a technical director or someone that is a doer in that realm that is actually working on that would get up and say, hey, here's one of the problems we tackled. We're going to get this in the game. The community just needs that face time, knowing that everyone understands it's difficult. It's tough to be convinced that they're actually doing the work sometimes, especially with the history of Planetside 2. If you get out there, show, hey, this is what we're working on, then people will understand, okay, they're making an effort at least. People will deal with rough performance as long as it feels like they're working towards a better place.
All right, so quick recap. We've got the December update going up tomorrow to PTS, going out hopefully to live early next week. We've got some big things on the horizon that we're planning to do a live stream to do a full reveal on in early January.
Yeah.
And we'll probably be announcing that date either later this month or early January.
Right after the first
right
of the
when we
year,
get back. But the plan is to go over this in detail very early in the month, because the plan is to get the update out in the first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we're still working on getting these updates like we're doing for this month. Lots of hot fixes, bug fixes, performance improvements. That's going to continue going on. And
So guys, that's it. That's a recap. That's where I'm going to leave you for right now. There's a lot more to talk about, and I do want to encourage people to repeat that mantra of water under the bridge. The really good things are we didn't hear anything about Planetside Arena. For now, I'm making the assumption that they have shifted basically the entire team over there. If I start seeing patches and stuff to Planetside Arena, I might get a little worried that they're not giving Planetside 2 the full resources that it needs. But as of right now, there's no reason to be alarmed. I'm just hoping their New Year's resolution is to finally just focus on delivering quality patches. They don't have to be huge, with a few bug fixes and some minor performance improvements to Planetside 2. It would be a great way to get back into it and set it on the right track. I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed that we are not getting any huge epic content drops. We're not getting a new continent anytime soon. You know, they announced a whole bunch of NSO stuff, which is for like 1% of the population. And I think the benefits of Sanctuary are going to be a really tough sell on a lot of people. So in that sense, it was a little disappointing, but I would urge patience. They're still figuring it out. They're still getting everyone settled back into the Planetside 2 title after a couple years developing Planetside Arena. So let's just wait and see right now, and let's just focus on making sure they deliver good patches. You know, if they're good and they're clean and they're not buggy and they don't kill performance, vote with your wallet. And if they don't deliver those, vote with your wallet. It's a new team with a lot of old faces. Hopefully they've come back to Planetside 2 with a renewed vigor and excitement for this awesome title. Until next time, fellow Auraxians, I will see you Planetside.